Hello and welcome. My name is Evgeny Rusakov and you're watching your favorite TVP World program, Interview from Vilnius. Russia is one of the world's largest oil producers, yet it is now facing a growing fuel crisis. Fuel shortages, rising prices and reports of panic buying are raising questions about the resilience of the Russian economy and the impact of the war on its internal stability. Is this just a temporary disruption or a sign of deeper structural problems? To discuss this, we are joined by Jekaterina Rojaka, Lithuanian MP and economist. Jekaterina, glad to see you in our studio. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very much for having me today.
Okay, so ironically, a country with some of the largest oil reserves in the world is currently facing a fuel crisis. So firstly, what's your take on the recent events that have triggered this current fuel crisis in Russia?
Yeah, it sounds really ironical when the largest world oil station, have developed such kind of problems. But what we face right now is, for the first time, most probably, Ukraine is forcing not only military problems, but also economical problems. Because, if we take back into the sanctions definitely hurt, but they didn't hurt Russia immediately and through all the regions. And now we see that with all this panic around the difficulties just to fuel your car, it also creates kind of a political problem. And that's not only, it's the whole play, the several stages: military, economical, and then political. And knowing that elections are coming, that might be quite a question, for the overall result.
In your view, to what extent is this crisis the result of wartime conditions and sanctions, and to what extent does it reflect deeper structural problems within the Russian economy?
Well, I think that it goes all together. First of all, this is the problem of the drone that's coming, and that's also the military and security problem from the first side. But also it creates and it shows how fragile the Russian structure is, because those kind of problems, they are and kind of economic sanctions. They are not working immediately, but they are working in the cumulative way. And we also see that in cumulative way, just one thing that triggers larger changes. And that is very important. It's very different development from what we have seen before. But again, when we're talking about the overall impact, we definitely should concentrate on how Russia reacts. And we see two sides of the story, right? The political side, or what we, or the Russian citizen can see on the television. On the other hand, we see that, the whole country is operating with the difficulties. So it's a problem with the logistics and with a problem with all kind of vulnerabilities that are creating. We also see, and the Russia is exposed because of the war, that there is not enough labor force, that there is not enough change management, there is not enough adaptivity to the difficult situations, because it's very important how you face the crisis. All the kind of crisis managers would say that it is extremely important how you act in 24 hours after the crisis. And we've seen that reaction was actually absolutely absent. They try to mask it, and then all of a sudden it's appeared to be much bigger problem than it first came.
Since you've mentioned logistics, so to what extent does our modern life depend on logistics, first of all?
Yeah, it's a very good question, because usually people don't think about it. But in our modern world, everything is logistics. Everything is transported. Everything is chain. It's a supply chain, and it should be very much interconnected. If something goes wrong, there should be a plan B. If there is no plan B, so there is a crisis, smaller crisis or larger crisis. So when we take milk milk from our shelves, there is a lot of logistics, a lot of energy resources in that. Not to just produce it, but to take it also to the factory, then
take it from the farmers.
From the farmers to the factory, from the factory to the
Shelves,
store,
exactly.
and then you come also on usually with your car and take it to your home. So everything is very much interconnected, and when you see that. Well, so usually we just take it as given and we don't think about it, but it's a very large part of our life. And of course, well, the drones, they just expose the weakness. They have created the trigger, but they expose the weakness of the logistic chain, and it's huge. Well, another question, whether it is a turning point, I might be a bit cautious about that, but it's a very different development that shows that exposure was very, very targeted, and the overall structure of Russian economy is very fragile.
So you've mentioned milk on the shelves of our stores.
Yeah.
So which sectors are likely to be affected first if fuel shortages continue?
Well, first of all, I think it's agriculture, because it's not only the sector that is dependent on the diesel, but also it's the timing, it's the season that actually has started already,
exactly,
the crops
yes.
and everything. And of course, again, the politicians say that they have huge reserves specifically for agriculture, but we also seen that even diesel, and diesel was the last thing that actually disappeared from the stations. But nonetheless, there is more and more news are coming that even diesel is not available in most of the regions or a large part of the region, and that will definitely create a problem for agriculture. But it's not the only problem, because agriculture is the basic, it's the consumption. And if there is a problem with diesel, with a problem with the pricing, and the next one is inflation, and inflation will cover it all. Actually, it's not only one region; it will take the whole country. And then we can also see, just several days ago, there was a forum in St. Petersburg, an economic forum, and there was a very harsh discussion regarding the central bank actions. And you know that the central bank of Russia have dropped only 0.25 percentage point into the interest rates down, which is definitely not enough to make the inflation under control. But at the same point, they're very much afraid that any kind of rapid changes will bring stagflation. Okay. Inflation is still be there, but there will be no growth at all. And so those are already pointing that this very targeted attack, or how can I say, deep line sanctions that are exposed by the drones, they are creating economic problems.
What consequences could the Russian economy face if the current situation does not improve over the next 1 or 2 months?
Well, on the consequences, definitely it's the speed of the reaction, and we see that, well, for many people, they are not satisfied with how the crisis is solving, or how it is not solved. And of course, the overall inflation, and now again, in Russia, the price of fuel is rising, while in the whole world, after the agreement on the Hormuz, the prices of oil have been dropping, and the fuel prices are going down. So it's a very different direction what the Russia citizens are facing currently. So consumers are definitely will be the first who will be affected, and who will see that not only somewhere in their macroeconomic table, because there are many people who doesn't care about the macroeconomy, about the forecast, but what they care, it's about their pocket, it's about their wallet.
And this, the current situation affects their pocket.
It's very effective, and it will create the whole inflationary bubble, because, as already told, there's a large portion of price in every single good that is taken, because logistic is also kind of another fuel for the economy. Well, the consumers are already reacting. Another thing is, which is also very important, that previously the electric car market, several cars per month were sold. Now there are several cars per day.
They're reacting,
of course.
that's...
But again, it's not affordable for every single
Sure.
Russian to do.
Sure.
And with the electricity and the infrastructure is not enough. So there will be also shortages. So it is just a very short or small escape for a very small portion of Russians.
Okay, another question. So, according to some sources, Russia does not have problems with the fuel quantities. The main problem is panic rather than the actual fuel shortages. So, if that is indeed the case, what impact could this panic have on the Russian economy?
Panic definitely escalates the problem a lot, and it creates another round of their social problem or social behavior. We see that the consumers are changing their behavior, and that means that they start critically thinking what is happening to the country. The panic, it escalates the problem, and it's very difficult just to put some kind of black sunglasses and not to see that if it's so visible. The queues are visible and people are staying there for many hours.
I've read on the internet it's 18 hours. It's queues of 600 to 800 automobiles in those queues. So that's enormous. That's a very big problem.
Yeah, we've been through many different panic waves. Just if you remember the COVID, do you remember the panic about the toilet paper? It doesn't mean that everybody has a diarrhea now and needed just like 10 times more toilet paper.
Exactly.
But everybody, if there is insecurity about the tomorrow's day,
consumers react.
Consumers react, and they try to buy more and more, even they don't need. So the response of the politicians, the response of the administration would be harsher and harsher with every single panic attack, and that's what we see currently. It's not stopping, and you can stop the panic by providing a lot of goods, but they can't. And that's the crucial story. That in fuel market, psychology is very important. It creates a new shortage.
I see. Okay, my last question, my final question. So, you as an economist, do you see this as a temporary disruption, or could it become the beginning of a much deeper economic crisis?
Well, I think that this immediate shortage most probably will ease with some time, but the fundamental and strategical part will stay. And this is an extremely important development for the whole world, for Europe, for us, for Ukraine, because we see that it creates additional pressure to prolong this war. And I think that whether it will grow to the broader economic crisis, not necessarily, but I wouldn't say that it won't create more pressure on Russian economy, on the government, on reality check, on the critical thinking of people staying in Russia. So, Russia eventually will repair some refineries, but at the same time, Zelensky have very clearly stated that their drones now are reaching already 3,000 kilometers.
That's a sad story. That's a sad story for Kremlin.
That's actually shows that the pressure will be just increasing, and you are living every single night under their uncertainty, and uncertainty kills the economy. So I believe that this feeling of uncertainty will be very crucial for the whole development, what we're seeing currently.
Jekaterina, nothing more to add. Thank you for joining us today. We will really keep an eye on what's happening there, and I'll be very glad to see you in our studio for the next big hot topic.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And I would like to remind our viewers that our guest for today was Jekaterina Rojaka, member of Lithuanian Parliament and economist. You're watching TVP World. Stay with us.